or cross-site scripting, or cross-site request forgery, or different, just the different types of attacks that we get into. And on websites, what do you do if your session is stolen, or how do you know if it's been stolen, or, lots and lots and lots of different types of things that they bring up. And my favorite, my favorite, all-time favorite are the attacks. The attacks are way fun, and people are like, oh yeah, that's happened to me, or that's happened to somebody else, or whatever. Hello people, as you're popping in. I'm just chatting right now. I'm leaving the chat box up in case anybody has, any questions that they want to ask. I would be more than happy to answer any questions. Security Plus is, like I said, one of my favorite classes to teach. I get to teach it next week. In fact, in Baton Rouge for 32 people, you guys. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll make it work. So Security Plus is, like I said, a foundation that you lay everything else onto. So if you're interested, networking has all of its everything. It's like you can do a system admin and work with your servers, and Active Directory structures, and DNS and DHCP and different things like that. And you can be a Cisco admin and work with routers and switches and the networks cabling and different things like that. You could be an engineer and just want to plot and plan out the entire infrastructure. You can do servers, VMs. VMs are huge, and so VMs in the cloud. There's the cloud technology. There's everything, is there, but surrounding everything, is security. And so security reaches out to all the various different parts and pieces, to firewalls, to routers, to switches, for your network admins, to Active Directory, to securing your objects, to securing your people, to securing your facilities, to be able to do everything. So you're mindful of everything as you go through, and all the security aspects of a network. And like I said, I like this because I like people to know the basics so that they can help their family, so that they can help their friends, so they can spot something. If somebody else in the network is doing something, or is about to click on a link in an email, my thing is don't click on the link. And that's just my preaching, my practices, and just telling people don't click on the links. And there are different ways that you can actually look at that and see if it's from Apple. I'm sure you get those phishing emails. Apple, hey, somebody from Russia has bought, blah, 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 blah. Congratulations, you're paying for their, whatever suite, or, whatever it is. And you just go, whatever, humbug. Not happening, so we just need to be aware of it. And the bad thing would be, like I tend to be very, it's like, I want to do that, but you don't reverse engineer it just to get back at them. But that just makes it so that other people are like, oh, they're there, we've got a connection. I had a kid in, oh my gosh, it was so funny, go to a lot of bases around the United States and do Security Plus and all the various different security different things, classes, CISSP, CAS, CYSA, CEH, all the various different layers of security. And he said, we were in class, and he said, I get scam phone calls all the time. And he goes, I know what they are, and I know who they're from, or I know what they are when they come in. So I'll answer the call, and I'll stay on the phone like a half hour with them, and I'll be messing with them, and et cetera, And I'm like, oh, okay, And so, he's just talking about those things. And I said, is it the same number that calls a lot of times? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, you know what? You might want to look out for that, now, because while you're on the phone with them, they can, you know, reverse engineer, put a program into your phone, be watching you, be listening to you, you know, do all kinds of, you know, different types of things. It goes, really, you know, so there's lots of different types of things that you need to look out for. And Security Plus is just that spark that helps us to be able to get our brain. It's like, oh, I've heard of that, you know, oh yeah, that happens. We all do social engineering, people. I mean, you know, when haven't you called AT&T or your ISP or your phone company or something like that and said, oh, you know, my contract is almost up, I'm gonna cancel and this and that and the other, and they ask you why, and you go, and you say, well, you know, because my service isn't all that good, and you go, all right, you know, well, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel, and they say, oh, you know, we'll give you 6 months for reduced price, and you go, well, you know, okay, you know. So social engineering, and mute your mics, guys. We do this all the time. You know, we will con people into doing, you know, getting, I don't know if you have kids or not, but you con them all the time. So basically, social engineering is one of those attacks that is hit on quite a bit because it's an umbrella for all different other kinds of attacks that we go through in Security Plus. Let me go through here since we have a lot of people on here now. My name is Christi Sanders, and I've been with the company now for about 7 years. And I generally have a, you know, go into the classroom. I've done this for 20 plus years. Go in the classroom and stick around for 4 or 5 years, and then I go into the industry and I work because I love doing this also, but I love coming back into the classroom and teaching it also. So these are just some of my CompTIA certifications. I have many other certifications that cover the various different industries. But these, you know, just have to do with CompTIA. So we just put these into the slides. And so I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna leave the chat open. I'm gonna try to kind of hide the box a little bit so that it's not disrupting to everybody. Ugh, and see, it makes it really huge when I do that. Not disrupting to everybody, but that really is disrupting. But so I can see what's going on there. But in camp situation, now it depends on what, how you're doing the boot camp. Boot camp generally states it you know, it includes a voucher for tests, for testing purposes. So you could have a boot camp situation where you're already in the industry and you're working in it, and all you need to do is get the Security Plus certification. Or you're not in the industry and you're trying to work your way through things, and you've heard Security Plus because you're interested in security is a really good one to get. Either one of them would be great for a boot camp type situation. Now, I would suggest if you're brand new to the arena, basically, I would suggest going into at least Network Plus and getting an idea, because all of this works on your network, over your network. And so it's always a good idea to understand where the packets, what's happening with the packets, you know, where they're coming from, and then where they're going to, and as they traverse a network, what happens to them. So that's always something that you should know, and sometimes gets a little confusing with to people when they're actually doing this type thing. So always a good idea to have some sort of computer or networking background. But if you don't, you know, it's basic. So we get down and we'll show you the three-way handshake. We'll go in and we'll, you know, explain how a man-in-the-middle attack works, or how, you know, cross-site scripting, or, you know, any of the other types of attacks work, so that you can understand that. And then you study for a little bit, and then you take the test. The test is rather difficult. I'm going to say it's not easy. And I think CompTIA has made it that way so that, you know, not everybody can go out and get a Security Plus, and it means something. But again, for those of you who came in a little bit later, it is a baseline type of a cert. You know, so with this, it lays down the foundation of all the various different types of things that you do in security, like comparing and contrasting attacks, like going in and looking at security controls. Lots of different types of security controls. You have your technical controls, you've got your physical controls, you've got operational, you've got all different types of controls, from administrative controls down, like your policies and different things like that. And if you guys are, you might want to mute your mic. So assessing security posture with software tools, how, you know, if you're going in and looking at a vulnerability test or a pen test or something like that, if you're a developer, how are we going to know if your app that you're creating for our user is going to be safe? If it's going to let in people, if it's going to open a door that shouldn't be opened, if it's going to give somebody too many permissions in order to be able to, you know, run that. We don't want it to be, because if somebody comes in and makes your computer a target, and then from that target it goes to other computers in lateral or type of, you know, picking up more permissions as it goes along, then you know what, we need to figure that out. Your cryptography, I don't get to know a lot about cryptography. I'm sure, you know, Beautiful Mind, the movie comes to mind. Beautiful Mind was all about and so, you know, it's like, that's not where we're going. We're going in and we're trying to figure out where, and we need it. We need to be, we need to use encryption, or we need to use hashing, or we need to use something that will keep all the packets from traversing the network or the internet. And one of the things that we do in that is to be able to do a PKI, or a public key infrastructure, set up a certificate server. I don't know if any of you do like digital signatures on your emails, or if you have, you go to GoDaddy and you grab a certificate because you want things to be secure from one point to another. Using a digital certificate allows you to do different things. Hold on. Please make sure your mics are muted. That would be great. There's some sort of static going on. Identity and access management controls. Now you're in a network, okay, and you're you press Control Delete to get into the network, or you use a client access card to be able to do that. You have multi-factors. You go in, you put your username and password down. That's something you know. You use your client access card or smart card. That's something you have. You use your eyeball or your fingerprint or your palm print or something like that. Something you are. And then there's something you do, like typing, or your trace finger, whatever. And then somewhere you are or are not. So all different kinds of client, the access, or the IAM management is what it's called, identity and access management, that allows you to be able to make sure that who's coming into your network is supposed to be there. And so you could do multi-factors. And I know you guys know multi-factors because if you go like I do to Gmail, Gmail sends me an access code and says, hey, is this you? You know, and there's my other factor of authentication, or uses your face or whatever, your cat's face or whoever's face you put on your phone. Managing access services and accounts, securing your network infrastructure or architecture, reinstall and configure your network appliances, basically doing it safely and securely. And I think the bigger one, the one people have the most fun with and can actually go in and understand a little bit more is wireless, because we all have wireless in our homes. And generally we'll have a wireless router sitting there, a wireless modem that's coming in from the ISP and then going out to the router. You know, all kinds of things that we actually interface with. So we've got this router and we know it's there because we have to connect to it. We have to have a username and password. We have to, you know, do whatever we can go in and say, hide the SSID because I don't want anybody knowing about it. We can manage it. And a lot of times, you know, that's a good thing, to be able to make sure that you feel a little more safe and secure. And so that management is always a good thing. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, so these are driving me absolutely insane. All right, so deploying host, mobile, and embedded systems. They, you know, just basically the ICS, the SCADA, the various different types of embedded systems that we've got. Some of the embedded systems we have now, guys, are your light bulbs and your microwaves and your ovens and your washers and dryers and, you know, all the various different devices that we use, which are very fun. I love them. And, you know, they're really, really a lot of fun to have, but how do we keep them secure? How do we make sure that they're secure? What is it that we need to do to make sure that, you know, there's nobody going in and doing anything nefarious on our networks? So those are some things that we actually go over. And then implementing your network access protocols. There are lots of different types of protocols that we use. We used to have to do ports. I still do ports because I feel that ports are really important, and on the test there are ports. But basically how, you know, how two different computers, you know, communicate are really, really, really important. So how do we secure those things? What is it that we do? We have to harden our systems. We have to harden our clients. We have to harden those, which means basically turning off unnecessary services that run automatically. One, we talk about attacks. And one of the biggest zero-day attacks there was, zero-day is when you find out that there is something going on, whether a vendor needs to fix it because it's a piece of software you got from a vendor, or whether it's a proprietary piece of software that somebody made in your network that needs to be secured. An O-day attack or a zero-day attack is when you figure it out. And then you contact the vendor and they say, yeah, we don't have a fix for it. We haven't heard of that before ever. So you go, well, okay, so can you be aware of it so that you can actually go in and fix it, please? And so they'll go, yeah, you know, thanks for making us aware of it. And they don't do anything about it. Well, one of the biggest zero-day attacks that there was when XP was being, you know, rolled out all over, everywhere. And the first companies that actually went to XP found out that there's a huge zero-day exploit in there. It was port 3389 was wide open. And port 3389 is your remote desktop protocol. And if 3389 is open, then anybody can get into your network. So, you know, that's one exploit that you really don't want to have happen. And so, you know, somebody contacted Microsoft and they're like, oh, you know, are you sure? Of course, for sure, you know. So anyways, it's just, it's being aware of all the various different other types of things that are going on out there. And then risk management. Talk about risk management and how you would be involved in that, because you would be more of the technical type of person involved in that, maybe doing some sort of buzzing with your applications, or vulnerability testing, or pen testing, or something like that. And risk management is finding out what, you know, what's there, and it could be anywhere from all your people. I like to use the Keebler elves in the elf factory making cookies. All your elves get COVID, you know. From that to there's floods, there's hurricanes, there's tornadoes, there's all different kinds of disasters. And then, you know, what happens if somebody takes out, you know, our power? What happens if we lose, you know, whoever or whatever? So you go through and you figure out how to assess things, how important things are, what could possibly happen. And I love the assessment of this. It's like you draw in all of your different departments, marketing, sales, you know, accounting, HR, admin, IT, you know, all the various different departments come around. You sit around the circle, you close the door, and you say, all right, we're having a bull session. Don't hold back. You know, no judgments here. Anything you worry about, we need to know about. And if it's a concern, you know, it's a concern to that department or to their data or to something. So it has to be brought out, and that's a really good risk assessment, or to be able to figure out what people are worried about. And then we go in and we say, okay, well, you know, we have CACs and we replace them every year, and that seems to be a really good thing. So HR, you really don't have to worry about access rights or anything like that. Or we have our data, we've got a huge database, and we encrypt the PII on the database, the columns with, you know, all the important information. So, you know, those are when you get, you know, into being able to figure out what it is we need to do to make things safe and secure for everyone, and for the network, for anyone who, you know, feels like they don't want to be attacked. And I don't think anybody feels like they do want to be attacked. And then, you know, just assessing everything. And then summarizing secure application development concepts. If you've done any developing, if you've done any type of coding at all, you know that there are ways and there are different types of things that can be done, either accidentally or on purpose. And I'm not saying that it would be done on purpose, but if you have somebody, you know, who has nefarious purposes or reasons going on in their brain, thinking that they want to do something, you know, putting information into code, you might be able to run assessments against that, vulnerability testing, and see, you know, if it's going to be a problem, or if there are those holes in there that could be actually made. All right. Explain organizational security concepts. So with that, then they go into the policies, the various different documents. What do we need if we're doing a B2B? What do we need if we're doing a pen test? We'll need our rules of engagement, and that rules of engagement spells out the statement of work, whatever it is that you want done. There are 3 different testing you can do: a black box, a white box, and a gray box test. How do you want us to do it? So there was one person that I had in one of my classes at one point in time. That the company that was doing a pen test on this company was clean. They couldn't find anything. They had gone out and tested them. They actually went in and they did all their, you know, all the recommended fixes that they told them to go in and fix. And the pen test company was digging their feet in. They were trying to figure out if there was some vulnerability there. Well, what they did was they said, you know, let's see if at the user level, we can get somebody to give up their passwords. And they tried social engineering, attempts and different things like that. And all their users were closed mouth. They were really doing a good job. They knew their job. They were sticking to their guns, and everything was good.
All right, you.
They decided that they wanted to put a test type environment out there. You guys make sure your mics are muted, please. And they put a table out in the foyer of this company, and they said, we're having a contest for anybody who can give us the most secure password that you could think of. We're going to give you $100 for it. So everybody was like, oh yeah, this is really cool. So they went in there and they had clipboards down there, and they said, what do you feel is the best password? And every one of them put their password down.
All right, so what I'm going to have to do is send your information to the provider, and he'll let me know how to schedule it. So once I know that for sure, I'll be giving you a call back, because I don't know how he wants to put it within this schedule now, because he's going by priorities due to COVID-19.
Please mute your mics.
I understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him an alert. That way he can look at your information. I got you listed at 850-232-8794.
We're listening
to you. Send this to him and find out what he wants me to do from there.
Okay. Ignore that information.
Okay, I'll leave a voicemail if I can't get you. All right. I understand. I will let him know. No problem.
There we go. Sorry, guys. All right. And they gave them the passwords. And so they went in there and started using those passwords and started hacking those people. So it's going to be something. So it's basically their big egos. I've got the best password, out there that actually did it. So lots of different types of things out there that are just, things to be careful. It was a great social engineering, hack, and they got them on that one point. So, anyways, kind of fun. Anyways, I'm leaving the chat box open because I want to know. I'm gonna finish this up, but I want to know anybody who has a question for me or anything. Our next Security Plus Bootcamp starts August 24th. Okay, and I apologize about the unmuting or the muting type things. You can do the class via remote. You can be in the classroom. So thus far, unless anything else happens, you can be in the classroom with an instructor. Lots, the various different ways are open to you for being able to do a class. It's whatever, makes you most comfortable. With Security Plus, there's not that much show and tell type thing that's like with A+, you've got, motherboards that you can pass around, different things like that. But with Security Plus, it's more, on the computer, and you've got different labs that you can do to help you to be able to understand a concept. And so basically it's not, touchy-feely type thing. So a computer would do really well, but a lot of people just can't sit like this and, have somebody talk at them. You need to get up and move around and be able to, have somebody in front of them and talk and different things. So, and I understand that concept is really hard for me to be able to do that type of class also. And then, I'm looking for questions. If you have questions, you can unmute your mic. Please feel free to do that. And we'll answer any kind of questions you have. Now, if you don't have access to, I'm sure the emails that you got, has the contact information, has, you can email training at atglearning.com. You can go into the website or Facebook or Instagram. Let me give you those addresses here, to be able to go in and look at Twitter or Instagram or any of those. You can ask questions. You can get, you know, information no matter where it is that you go, it seems like nowadays. It's, you know, like I said, Security Plus is really, really a good class, and there's a lot to be learned in there. The other thing that that I do suggest, if you're interested, and I did say that Network Plus is a really good place to start, because you start learning about packets and you know what's going on with them and how they traverse the network. And obviously an email has to be sent, you know, so how is it sent, how does it arrive, what happens with it. It's nice to have a little bit of knowledge going into that. And if you do not have that and want to get that, then those classes are also available. So, you know, any of those types of things that you need from us. I'm an instructor, and we have fun in class. I love teaching, and enjoy people. So if please, again, you know, group chat here. Yes, I can say a few things about testing. Yes, testing is 90 questions, 90 minutes. I say that, but it's up to 72, 70, you know, 68. It varies, because it will, it wants you to get, the top score could be like 900. But if you get 750, you passed. And it is, it's just one of those tests that we prepare you for. And it gives you all the various different types of, I call them domains. But if you go to CompTIA.org and you look at certifications and you look at exams, it gives you a list of all the various different things it tests on, like cryptography is 15% of the test. And, you know, policies is like 5% of the test. And all the various different attacks are like 20% of the test, and different things like that. So it outlines all the various different types of things it's looking for when you do the test. And the test, then we test there. We've got a great facility for testing. We do a lot of testing in Atlanta, and testing is, you know, like I said, if you're prepared, it's not a problem. It's a challenge, but it really we get you through it. Let's just say that we get you through the test. And yes, you can do online testing. CompTIA, Microsoft, they're all now doing online proctoring, is what it's called. So I could take it here. All I have to do is have a computer with a microphone and a camera. I show them my room. I show them underneath my desk. I show them all on top of my desk. I have to clear my desk off. And then they just sit there and monitor you doing the test. And I did that just recently, and it was like a beta test. And so it was 3 hours in test, and my brain was getting tired. So I'm like looking at the test, thank you for attending, you know, and I'm just kind of speaking the question to myself, you know, quiet voice. And it was like one of my last questions, and the proctor came on and said, we don't allow talking during the test. I'm like, sorry, I'm just tired. Well, we're going to have to stop the test and not let you take it. I'm like, okay, sorry, you know, and I just finished like the last 3 questions of it. But they do watch, they're listening. So you can do it like in the comfort of your home. Yeah, some hardware requirements, but mostly if it runs Windows 10, you're pretty good. And there is a test before you take the test, test your hardware. And if it passes, then most computers nowadays will pass, unless you have an old 386 computer, which I doubt that you do. It'll pretty much pass the test. Like I said, though, the only thing is a camera and a microphone on your computer, but you don't have to. You could have a webcam or something like that also. Does that answer your question? Anyone else? One. All right. You will be getting another email, and the recording. If you have questions, again, please feel free to call or to email training@atglearning.com. I hope I see you in one of my classes. I really do. I really do, because learning is always good, no matter how old you are, no matter where you are in life. And I think this virus has brought us to a point where we're like, oh, wait a minute, things are changing, and maybe it's time for me to be able to do something like this. So I really do hope you come and join in with us. Still waiting on questions. Anybody? All right. Well, you guys have hung in there with me all the time. Thanks. And Russell, you were the first one on.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Well, you too. Thank you. All right, guys. If nobody else has any questions, what is the path beyond Security Plus? If you want to do security on a network, and we talked a little bit about the various different paths that IT can take. Security, past Security Plus, I would probably look at Advanced Security Practitioner. That's a really good class. CEH, you could do CEH, Certified Ethical Hacker. That's always a fun one. And then you could look at CYSA, which is another advanced security hop-up. And beyond that, then you would get into the CISP, the CISSP type of thing, which is the security 30,000 foot drop look on a whole, enterprise basically. And you make management decisions. So that's why they get the huge, the huge bucks. But basically, Security Plus is a really good place to start. And then you just use that as a building block up to where it is that you want to go. CCNA is all about routers. And there are a lot of different ways that you can go with that also with your security on that. Various different types of security you could go on that. If you want to ask training at atglearning.com, they can guide you on that CCNA path. And how do you discern between NIDS and NIPS? I love that question. A NIDS and a NIPS are two different things. Generally in a firewall, you'll have both. But a NIDS is a network intrusion detection system. And there's a commercial on TV that I absolutely love because it's a perfect thing for a NIDS. There's a bank robbery happening. And the first thing you see is everybody hit the floor because, they say, okay, on the floor, it's a bank robbery type thing. And one lady looks up and there's a security guard standing there and he's like standing there all looking around. He looks down at her and he goes, "There's a bank robbery in progress." And she's like looking at him like, duh, what can't you do? He goes, I'm just a monitoring system. I can't do anything. And that's an NIDS or an IDS or a WIDS. So they do the detection. They detect that something's going on and they go, whoa, alert, 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 there's something going on. Then they'll pass that packet through and then it will go to the NIPS or the Network Intrusion Prevention System, which will say, hey, wait a minute, based on the packets and your filters and everything that we were looking at and assessing, you're not allowed in here. So we're going to keep you from going in. Can there be false positives and false negatives, letting people through that shouldn't be through, and looking at packets that should go through and they say no? Yes, there are, which are, you know, makes the log files and the system files and different things like that something you have to read. But yes, it's really easy because a detection detects something and the IPS goes, I got your back. Literally, in the back of that system, it's like, okay, so we're going to stop this from happening. Does that answer your question about NIDS and the NIPS? Anyone else? All right. Okay, good. Okay, guys, it's been a pleasure. I again hope to be able to see you in class. If you want to look at some things, go to ProfessorMesser.com. ProfessorMesser.com is a good place to go to look at A+ information, Net+, Security+ information. And it's something I always tell my students to go to if they don't understand a concept. So you're not understanding this, go to Professor Messer, look at his free videos, and get a deeper understanding because that's what he does. So it's actually pretty cool. And no, none of the security or none of CompTIA's certificates are permanent now. It does require renewal, it gives you 3 years. So you can also, if you do CEs, continue education, you can get credits and then use those towards your $50 a year renewal fee, and then be able to keep that. A lot of people haven't renewed. It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't renew and I have to take the test, and a lot of people don't like that because, again, it's not an easy test. But no, their certificates became non-permanent quite a while ago. So unfortunate and fortunate. I always have to take the test. So I've never really had and gone through the continuing education process because I always have to know what's on the test for my students. But otherwise than that, I understand it's not a hard process. And they'll send you reminders, hey, you know, this is about ready to expire. Have you taken any training? Do you have any certificates for us that we can put on there? So, and can you give us $50? So anyways, yeah, no, unfortunately they're not. I heard it renews by taking other CompTIA courses. Is that the case? It can. Like I said, the class completion certificate can allow you to be able to help that to be able to renew, yes. If it's Security Plus, if you take any other security class, CEH, if you take CISP, if you take CASP or CYSA Plus or any of those, then with that class presentation certificate, you can get credits towards your Security Plus. Does that help?